Hello, my name is Ivan Garcia, and I'm going to be going over the benefits of technical business writing and some of the things that I learned from this class. What is the purpose of this class? So, the purpose of this class is to teach us some skills for the business setting, and it teaches us how to write in the business setting. As to like regular writing, you're not going into like different things, different topics, and like it's more direct. And the purpose basically is to prepare us to be able to use this type of writing in basically in the workforce. So, what is technical business writing? It is learning how to write in like a business or and a technical setting, in a business and technical way, because we have to learn how to be clear and concise with the things that we write in order to not cause confusion, especially when writing like emails or messages. You want the message to be clear. So that's basically what technical business writing is kind of showing us how to do, kind of. And why are these skills important? These skills are important because they're going to be essential to you. We're going to need these whenever we start working, and we need to communicate with our coworkers and stuff like that, or even someone higher up, like your boss. So we need to be able to communicate properly, and or even if you become the boss, like you have to be able to communicate with everybody. So this would just help in general. Um, so the importance of clear language. So whenever you're writing like a business letter or something business related, you want to be speak clearly and don't go off on and give off like unnecessary information that can cause confusion. You get straight to the point and basically just be clear with everything you say. Make sure there's no room for misinterpretation or things like that. Next, who am I speaking to? This is basically you have to Well, whenever like writing an email or something, you have to figure out who you're talking to, or for other things like if you're speaking to a more broader audience, you're gonna address them differently as to like an email or something. And so you just gotta figure out what type of language you're gonna be using. Like if you're gonna speaking to a larger audience, you may have to adjust your writing and the way you speak a little differently. Whereas when you're speaking to one individual, you want to address them clearly and you address them properly. Structure and organization. Again, you want to make sure the things you're writing are structured correctly, so everything is organized and it can flow smoothly. And this also helps to avoid confusion as well, because you don't want to be jumping from topic to topic. So, what are some of the things I learned from the technical side? So this includes like the instruction manual we did. So the instruction manual, it required a lot of detail, and I think that I learned what I assumed to be good detail was not enough detail, and that, I think I just assumed too much. Like I assumed that the reader already knew what I was talking about, which I learned already that that is not the case, and I needed to go into even more detail than I did. And yeah, basically be more specific and clear, and go into great detail when explaining something. And what are some things I learned from the business side of it? So this includes things such as like the memos, emails, what else? Letters. So from the business side, I think I learned how to, first of all, how to address people, like when you're in your when you need to email someone specifically, you find out how you address them and what kind of language to use. And for things like memos, you're speaking to a more general audience, and you're kind of giving information about something, and you want that information to be clear, and you want to get straight to the point when doing some of these things, so that, people get the message, basically. These are some of the assignments that I completed. My resume is now com is revised. It was I prefer this way. I originally did a different resume, but I think I kind of strayed off from what I originally wanted to do, because I kind of just got a template because I thought it would be more creative in a way, but it was just not my style, I think. I like this one. It's more minimalistic. To me, it looks better too. So honestly, I shouldn't have strayed off from what I usually do. And yeah, so this is my resume, and now this is the memo that I did. If if I were to become like a manager or something one day, I might have to apply this in that way when like managing and like need to give off information to like to a group of people, or even in general a memo as a worker to give off information. So I kind of got some knowledge on the structure and what basically how to structure and organize it in a way that is clear for the audience. So what type of language did I learn to use? So the language we use is you have to be clear and concise. Um, you can't use you because it's kind of demanding language. So you want to be direct, but you don't want to be demanding. So basically, just avoiding stuff like that. Mm, And why is this type of language style good to use in a business setting? Because you don't want to feel like demanding towards the other person or make them feel some way. You want to give them information without seeming like bossy, I would say, like kind of in a way, but you still want to be clear and direct with the information, because you don't need to go and say excess information that is unnecessary. So you just be clear with what you say, but also not in a demanding way. So some personal experience I got from this was in a group project we did. So we had to, the one of the biggest things from this is the communication part. I had to, send messages to my other group members and tell them like, how are we gonna do this? When can we meet up? So we had to figure out and organize that. Then we had to we met up. Then we figure out a lot of communication a lot of back and forth about how we want to go about structuring it, and like what each of us are gonna do and how we want to do it. So it kind of give like a real world experience of how it's gonna be in the future. So that was definitely something beneficial. And and then how can it be used in the real world in general? So it can be used, basically, communication is gonna be the biggest thing when when you find a job. And so I think that this, even not even for other things too, but mainly for like job setting, it can be used like for like emails, and if you're the boss, like you might have to write like give directions to somebody, and you have to be very clear on what you say, or else they can misinterpret that, or they might respond confused, and you have to go, just more work if you don't explain it the first time. So basically, learning how to do it right the first time and being clear on how you do it. What difficulties did I face in this class? Definitely just figuring out how to transition from the usual like writing that that I learned how to do, I guess. Obviously, the main important stuff language, punctuation, all the grammatical stuff, it still applies to this, but just learning how to speak in a more business-like way, I would say, and how to structure it and how I overcame some of these difficulties. Some of these difficulties, I guess, just through trial and error and seeing what I did wrong. Um, I was obviously now I can see like after I got the feedback, I can see that some of the things that I assumed to be clear or enough, and what is something you need to improve on. So for me, I think that I don't use visuals that much. I don't like to. I just like, for me, I like the very minimalistic, and I think it looks a lot cleaner, but I know there's ways that I can probably apply this and still make it look clean. But I, yeah, I didn't get around to it. So I didn't really apply this that much. But I know that it can be very helpful, especially when like with keeping the attention of whoever's receiving your document or like your presentation. Visuals can be very important. And yeah, it's something that I could have used more or something. Yeah. Final thoughts. Overall, this class was, I think, very beneficial. It showed me a lot of things that I was not good at, and it helped me with some things that I can now use. Like now I can have a resume to write. I know some emailing, like how to email and how to address people, how to write letters. So overall, it gives some good experience on what future communication is gonna look like and what I might need to do. And now I need to just improve on some of the things that I learned. And yeah, overall, I think it's gonna be very beneficial. And yeah, it was good to be in the class. Um, yeah, well, that's pretty much it. Thank you.